Hello everyone, William here from TwoTwentyTwo Productions, and I am here to talk to you about the Minneapolis Regional Finals of American Ninja Warrior Season 10 in approximately 20 minutes or less, starting right now. So, this is it, the final regional finals, and now we're going to be heading to Vegas, but first let's talk about this episode. So, let's talk about that first half of the course, shall we? All I have to say is, Nerfs. Nerfs all around. Nerfs everywhere. Big time nerfs on this course. It was pretty blatant. So first we got the Archer Steps, of course. What's interesting is that according to A&W Nation, someone failed the Archer Steps, but I don't remember that ever being shown. But anyway, then we got the Double Twister, which I am pretty sure rotates less compared to the regional qualifiers. Then we got the sky hooks replacing the ring jump. Now, the ring jump was like a very killer obstacle in the qualifiers, and sky hooks. This is only the two jump sky hook version, which is easier than the 3 jump version that we saw in LA. So that was nerfed twice, you can argue. Then you got the Diamond Dash, which I'm pretty sure is the same. I couldn't notice any changes. But then you got the Battering Ram, which was also nerfed. And because there's only 2 of them instead of 3, so and the one that was removed was the big fat one, so you got 2 normal size ones, so big time nerfs. And then you got the warped wall, the salmon ladder, and then a new obstacle called the hinge, which I'm gonna admit, not impressed. Basically, it's a heartbreaker. It's a variation of the heartbreaker, aka the spider flip. Basically, you got so from the salmon ladder, you go to this board, you got to turn it 90 degrees and locks into place, and then you got to jump to a board, and that causes the whole thing to turn 90 degrees and locks into place, and well, I guess, yeah, it'd be 90 degrees. And then you move to another board from there, and you flip around, and the whole hinge part where things move and stuff, it didn't really add anything to the obstacle. You could have just had a bunch of boards and have them turn, basically climb around to the other side and then do the flips, and you would have gotten the same thing. And there's really nothing about the whole movement thing, especially the middle part, because it's supposed to be automatic when you hit the board and then it moves and locks in place. So it didn't really feel like it added anything. Maybe the movement was supposed to make it harder because maybe you can slip off, but no one did in that part of the hinge, at least. So at least what I saw. But yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm gonna be honest, not a fan. Then the return of Iron Maiden, which I am a fan of. Basically, it's like a reverse pegboard. You got you got the handles that go on top of the pegs, got to go down. Then you got climb pegs up, but without handles. And then you got to go down with handles again. I understand why you don't have to go up with the handles, but I kind of wish you had to. But I guess they don't want to make it too hard. So, oh yeah, it was Jake. Yeah, I was trying to remember who had the YouTube preview. It was Jake. Which not a fan of because he was it was pretty late. It was mid-episode. Not a fan. Gotta go early if you're gonna do this. So we start with Leif Sundberg, who's Swedish, and babe, oh boy, they telegraphed this. They really emphasize just how much he does the salmon ladder, how many big moves he does, and how fancy he gets. And so you knew one of 2 things were happening: either he was going to do a big move, which isn't likely, or he was going to fail the salmon ladder, which was way more likely. Because here's the thing. If he was going to do a big move and it'd be successful, I feel like they wouldn't have hyped it up so much. So you might as well just had a big sign that said, he's going to fail the salmon ladder. He's going to fail the salmon ladder. Just bouncing in your face. And guess what? He did a big move. It looked cool. He tried doing one big motion to going to the top, but it slipped off. Basically, he didn't execute it perfectly. He said in the interview that he had no regret doing it, which is I guess that's fine. But I understand wanting to make it fun at the same time. I also understand winning. I don't know. I don't agree with his decision, but whatever. Then some fast forwards. James Gomez failed the Diamond Dash. Dan Delano failed the sky hooks, and Jalali Allen failed the battering ram. And then they showed Abby Clark, and the fact they showed her so early was a bit concerning. But I remember watching this, she had a really slow dismount on both the double twister and the skyhooks. Like, she spent a lot of time on those. And I wonder how much that tired her out, because by the time she got to the warped wall, she couldn't make it up it, unfortunately. She ended up failing the warped wall despite the fact that she cleared it last time. So it has really opened up the door for the other women to possibly pass her. And then we had Julius Ferguson, a.k.a. the Black Jules. And when I saw this name, my immediate thought was, hey, I recognize that name. He's commented on some of my YouTube videos in the past. Specifically some of the National Ninja League stuff. I think like Season 1 National Ninja League stuff he commented on. So like, yeah, really cool to see him on the show. And so he works at New Era Ninjas. He's a rapper. He got stuck on skyhooks for a while on his run, and I remember had a very close call on the Diamond Dash, and then another like a close dismount on the battering ram, and then unfortunately he failed the hinge. Sadly, he made it to the last board, but he couldn't hold on. He slowly slipped down. He was able to get his feet on the platform, but it slid down. His hands couldn't hold on. You can clearly hear him yell in like a "no, don't fail me now" sort of way. So that was sad. I was hoping he'd do well. Did he make? No, he didn't make it. Oh no. That's so sad. I'm sorry. Then we had Ben Antoine, fast forward, who failed the Diamond Dash, Jamie Ross, who failed the battering ram, and Michael Salinzi, who failed the hinge. Then we got Danny Bergstrom. Okay, so this, I really need to address the way they edited this profile, because they were like, oh, hey, he's the son of Jason Bergstrom, who we saw last year. He's a father of 9 kids. And I remember, if I remember correctly, that's the one where, like, one of the kids, for some reason, was, like, ahead in the clouds of, like, this photo that they showed. I'm not sure what was up with that. But, like, the way they edited this, like, oh, you remember, he's the son, he's Jason's son. And then they immediately cut to the profile of Danny, where he goes, yeah, I experienced a lot of abuse in my childhood for the first 13 years of my life. And I'm just like, holy crap. Are they telling me that Jason abused Danny? Like, cause that's what they made it sound like. Cause at no point did they mention before the profile started airing that Danny was adopted. but then they go, oh, but then I was adopted by Jason and his wife, and it's just like, oh my god, like, you really should have ordered some of that information around the correct way. Like, you really should have mentioned the whole adopted part first. Because, like, man, they made that sound bad, and like I'm not saying this is like a way of like disrespecting him. I'm just saying like A&W presented this poorly. I'm relieved that like they have a healthy relationship, and he's been a good father. So good. He was wearing his glasses, and what's interesting is that like when he completed the archiceps, his glasses fell off, and he caught it and put it on. He was able to get revenge on the Diamond Dash when he failed last time, and he actually made it all the way to Iron Maiden. He didn't last very long on that obstacle, but he made it. He did pretty well, and that's actually good enough to get to Vegas. So good for him. Big improvement going to Vegas. Really liked what I saw. Then they showed Jake Murray. They really just sort of mentioned that like he's from South Dakota originally. And so Jake had a good run, and he ended up clearing. So big time return for him. Really, really glad for him. Jake, I can't emphasize this enough. Like, just from my experience with him at the National Ninja League this year, Jake is such a nice guy. So I'm really glad to see him do well. Then they showed Jason Say, who failed the double twister, Austin Gray, who failed the Iron Maiden, and then they started showing Michael Torres. He got no profile, so I'm kind of sad by that. But he was able to do a big warped wall jump, and unfortunately, he failed the hinge at the end He really like rushed the dismount. He really should have took a moment to like try to grab, assess himself, then turn around. But like he really tried to like grab, go the other side of the board, and then dismount all at once. He ended up slipping right off, and as we later learned, that cost him. So that's unfortunate. And I guess in that regard, Sean Darling Hammond should be relieved in that. Then they showed Andrew Rue Yori. Basically, he failed the sky hooks. He ended up missing the first ring. What was it? Oh, yeah, it was when he was jumping up to grab the ring. He just completely missed it. It's one of those silly mistakes that, like, no one wants to fail. That sort of style. Then Sean Darling Hammond got a fast commercial run, and he ended up failing Iron Maiden. Then they showed Sarah Heason, and, like, it's interesting because they kept mentioning that like her pace is going faster than Abby. I honestly, I had Abby and Megan like kind of just penciled in right away because I didn't think any of the other women were going to beat them. But Sarah ended up failing the batter ram, and from what the commentators were saying, they made it sound like that she could have won otherwise if she didn't fall. All right, and then next they showed Lance Picus, and basically he became a national spokesperson for the national beef industry around the country, I should say. So that's pretty cool. He ended up failing Iron Maiden, basically on the last slope going down. Dalton Knapp failed the Hinge. Drew Knapp failed the Iron Maiden. So that means Drew moved on. Then they fast forward Ian Dory, and he cleared. I'm kind of surprised why they did that. So maybe it's because he was the slowest. So maybe that's why he got fast forward. And then they show Tyler Gillette, and this was a genuinely good profile. This was cute. This was fun. This was nice. I really liked this profile. Basically, it's like he trains with his mom. His mom is interested in what he does, and they train together, and that's great. We need more profiles like that. I really, really like that. That's just adorable. And he ended up failing the Iron Maiden. Cher Schobeck got fast forward. She failed the Skyhooks. Carson Voiles failed the Iron Maiden, and so did Eric Middleton. Then we had Joe Morosky, and really kind of feels like they're running out of things to say about him because now they're focusing on like his musical talents. It's whatever. It's fine as a profile. He ended up clearing, doing well. He did well. And then they showed Megan Martin, and it's weird. They didn't really have a big profile for her, but she ended up making it to Iron Maiden. She failed the slope going down. She looked really good on the course. Megan, she's definitely improved in the regionals. I would say we'll have to see how she does in Vegas because she tends to make bad mistakes on stage one. So we'll have to see how she can do. I'm not like automatically going to pencil her in for clearing stage one because she's been very like inconsistent for stage one in Vegas. So some final fast forwards. Hunter Gerard failed Iron Maiden, and I really wish they show this run. Josh Stevens in his rookie year cleared the course. He was drawn to tears. That would have been nice to see. That whole thing, because it seems like there was a good story in that run going on there. And then the final run of the night was Jon Alexis Jr., and this is kind of this felt like A&W falling into their own I guess problems, their old habits, so to speak, because it's so obvious that Jon ran early in the night because he failed the Diamond Dash in qualifier, and I remember from an anecdote from someone who was in the audience in that regional, I believe he was like the sixth person to run. So it's super clear that like they just sort of randomly put him at the end. They said Michael Torres was on the chopping block. on the bubble. I felt bad for Torres because, like, I wonder how he would have done if he had to do Philadelphia instead of Minneapolis, because he was one of those people who was supposed to run in Philadelphia but got rained out. So I imagine he would have done better, but we'll never know. Unfortunately, we'll never know. But yeah, Jon ended up clearing with the fastest run of the night, beating Joe by like 12 seconds. But like Jon just muscled his way through that spider trap, like like his hair was pushing it up. He just looked really good. He's just Jon is someone who likes to go fast, and like I've talked about him, he has a lot of confidence in his ability. Plus, you know, he was on the winning team for Ninja versus Ninja, and just he looks good. They mentioned his profile, how he can be inconsistent at times, and yeah, this definitely. I think when you compare his qualifier run to his finals run, like yeah, definitely that is the case. But like he looks good, and I think he can do well. He's definitely someone I can see going to maybe even stage 3, depending on how things go. He's a talented man. He's a talented tall man. But that's everything for the Minneapolis Regional. Good episode overall, despite some issues with the editing, specifically the ending of the editing, especially because it's so obvious Jon didn't actually run last. And actually, I think it would have been kind of cool to have him run early, and then do this narrative about how his time is holding up. That would have been nice. But anyway, got the full stats here. 33 competitors ran. We saw 9 full runs, 5 started made progress, 16 fast forwards, and all the clears were shown in some capacity. So, 5 clears in the top 15, that being Jon Alexis Jr., Joe Morosky, Jake Murray, Jonathan Stevens, and Ian Dory. And the rest of the top 15 all failed the Iron Maiden. That would be Mike Myers, Eric Middleton, Karsten Voiles, Hunter Garrard, Lance Pikas, Drew Knapp, Austin Gray, Danny Bergstrom, Tyler Gillette, and Sean Darling Hammond. And our top 2 women are Megan Martin, who failed Iron Maiden, and Abby Clark, who failed the Warped Wall. And I am done. That's it. Time limit doesn't matter anymore, because we're all done with all the regionals. Did you like Minneapolis? I'm dying in this heat right now. It is so hot in this room. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. It was a good episode. If you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe. Next time is Las Vegas, the national finals of Midoriyama, not Mount Midoriyama. That's grammatically incorrect. Midoriyama, finally here, and just like last year, there is no more time limit. Yeah, man, I never really follow that stuff anyway, so who cares? And we'll get to the end. Stage 1, Part 1, first half. We'll see what happens. I don't know. I've seen a little bit of the course, so we'll have to see what happens. But I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Vegas this year. Like this is Ninja Warrior proper. We finally reached Ninja Warrior proper. 12 weeks of prep just to get 3 weeks of the main show. That's how I view it. But yeah, we'll see you next time where we finally talk about Las Vegas National Finals. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you like what you saw, make sure you subscribe. I'll see you later.